One challenge that most project managers face on projects is to have resources work at or near full capacity. A project should avoid resources working over their full capacity or significantly below the capacity. So they should not be over allocated or significantly under allocated. Both are undesirable because it may result in increased cost and also affect the motivation of the resources. So to achieve this, work may be moved around or start and finish dates may be adjusted. Let us look at an example. A graph like the one you see is called a resource histogram that shows how a resource is loaded with work. Assume that this resource has been hired at a rate of $100 per hour. The full workload of the resource will be 8 hours per day. This is shown by the dashed horizontal line. The actual workload of the resource is shown by the graph's vertical bars. This is how it came up when the resource was assigned to various activities. So now we calculate the costs. Value of work completed by the resource is 4 hours on Monday, 12 hours on Tuesday, 4 hours on Wednesday, 8 hours on Thursday and 4 hours on Friday. A total of 32 hours. That is $3,200 worth of work. What is the resource actually being paid? That will be 8 hours per day at full capacity plus 6 hours for the extra 4 hours of work on Tuesday, which will be at a rate of 1.5 times the regular rate of $100 per hour. So that is 8 times 5 gives 40 plus 6, a total of 46 hours. That is $4,600 is being paid to the resource. If this is how the project is planned, it will be an expensive project. There is a need to adjust the work, the over or under allocation, so that the resource is loaded with work close to or just under the full capacity, so that the gap between the value of work being delivered and the cost is reduced. There are two ways to resolve this. One of the two ways can be taken. It's up to the need of the project. Which approach is the right one depends on few things. How much flexibility is there to move the project end date or impacted deliverable date? Is paying no overtime a constraint, or the project end date is the constraint? Is there any constraint or challenge with resource availability? One approach is to get rid of any over-allocation, even if it moves the deliverable or end date. No overtime can be paid. Every over-allocation must be removed. Or available resources are limited and do not have much flexibility. This approach is called resource leveling. Usually the available float is first used to move over-allocated work as shown in the diagram, and then some more adjustment be made to the critical path. The impact can be that the critical path changes. It is not that the critical path will change, just that the project manager is willing to accept a change to the critical path. Now, what if the critical path or the end date or deliverable dates are not to be touched? Any change to those dates is unacceptable. In that case, adjustments will only be made within currently available float. So in the diagram shown, the move will only happen if there is no impact to the critical path. Otherwise, the over allocation is left as is because it is acceptable. This is a case where the project is willing to work overtime to finish the project by a certain date. This is the approach called resource smoothing. So there are two ways of optimizing resources: resource leveling and resource smoothing.